So the OnePlus 13 was the first big Android phone right out of the blocks in 2025, but now it has a challenger in the Galaxy S25 Ultra. Which though is the best of the bunch? Here's what you need to know. Just quickly though, I'm going to level with you for a second. I know that you're not subscribed to the channel. I can basically sense it, and I can sense that you like good content. So how about doing me a solid and sub in right now? I'll leave it up to you, but I don't think you should miss out. Cheers. So these are two phones that couldn't be more different in execution. Samsung's definitely sharpened things up a bit and ditched the curves, probably for the first time, at least in a long while, on the S series. OnePlus has gone for softer and more approachable, and it even has a vegan leather option, which I've been using, which feels about as good as any phone, or at least any phone backplate I've ever held in my life. If you like this design, the OnePlus 13 is also marginally lighter at 210 grams versus 218 grams, which sounds not very much, but it does start to make a difference day over day. It's great that we have these differentiators, at least in design terms, but there are some minor similarities here. Android OEMs have just basically decided to copy the homework of Apple, with flat size basically being on vogue for 2025, or at least so it seems. The OnePlus 13 has gone for softer chamfers on those flattened sides, which makes it easier to handle, while the S25 Ultra is a lot sharper, and you basically need a case on at all times, at least for it to be comfortable in my opinion. The chassis sizes, they're really similar, but the chamfers on the OnePlus 13 definitely hide that it's a little thicker than the S25 Ultra, despite the fact that the Samsung has an extra in-body accessory. And this is one of those big moments for Samsung to shine here, as getting the S Pen is both a blessing and a curse in lots of ways. It's a blessing because it gives you some pro-level productivity options. It's a curse because it's not quite as capable as the previous Galaxy S Pen in the S24 Ultra. I think if you like to annotate, make handwritten notes, and have precise selections, this is still unrivaled without those features packed in. You do though get better water and dust ingress protection on the OnePlus, possibly as a result of having that S Pen in the S25 Ultra, because it can actually withstand a little more water pressure and even a run through a dishwasher, which I don't know why you would do that anyway. There's also the big display differentiation here that we need to discuss. The Galaxy S25 Ultra screen specs are really similar to those of the OnePlus 13's panel. The ace up the sleeve of the S25 Ultra is the anti-glare coating. It just makes a huge difference and elevates an already superb screen to arguably the best in the business, as you can view it everywhere at really nice brightness levels. That's not all though, as Samsung's phone, or at least Samsung's phones in recent years, offer truly flat panels. They're just easier to use, and this one has smaller uniform bezels as well on all sides. OnePlus has flattened out its own screen, but there are tiny frame edge curves, and bezels are more visible here as it meets the frame of the device. Another key differentiator between these two devices is in their software skins, and One UI 7 and Oxygen OS 15 have improved so rapidly that I do think they are actually really great options for people who don't like what I'd consider the admittedly plain Android builds found on Google Pixel phones. Visually, these two skins are actually more aligned than they ever have been before. Expect big, bold, bright, and built-in customization across the board with both of these versions of Android 15. And thanks to the combination of insanely high-end internals as well, that top-tier Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, the super fast UFS 4.0 storage, and everything else on this phone will fly, including those skins. There is a minor overclock on the Galaxy S25 Ultra's SoC, but you probably won't notice any major performance uplift. Maybe you'll get a few more points on an old benchmark, but yeah, we're not running benchmarks all the time anyway. Everything from gaming to general use is a breeze, and as it should be, these two are some of the best on-paper Android systems that you can physically go out and buy. The OnePlus though, it definitely has a little bit of an edge, as it has a memory increase to 16GB of RAM. There is a lot of AI-based capabilities on the Samsung phone, but they've stuck with 12GB of RAM this time around on the S25 Ultra. This isn't a problem right now, or at least it doesn't appear to be, but it could be something that is problematic later down the line, as AI does use a lot of onboard memory. You can mitigate this with the RAM Plus feature, but Oxygen OS also has the same function, and therefore even more options to expand physical memory with virtual memory up to 24GB versus, I think it's 20 on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, although correct me if I'm wrong, it could be 24, and I'll leave that on screen, which is the correct number. AI is just a greater component in the core of One UI 7 as well on Galaxy phones this year. You can do more system level things like contextual search, multimodal controls for apps like Messages, so you can feed it extra instructions and it will take care of those, and various other things you'd ordinarily do yourself manually. On the OnePlus 13 and in Oxygen OS 15, the AI features are a little bit more passive. These include AI tuning for images, better file search, contextual file search, and you're less tied to how you use your phone rather than using the specific tools in these applications, although Samsung does have a few features of its own that are very similar to these. Which you prefer depends heavily on if you are all about AI enhancement or prefer AI aid. Samsung will continue to lead the way here though, as Galaxy S AI continues to work and progress. At least there's going to be deeper integration with Gemini, and that means you'll likely get some of these features as well earlier than most of these OnePlus phones, which is a little bit behind the curve in terms of what AI functions being added to Oxygen OS. Throw in that 7-year update plan for Samsung phones and a disappointing 4-year OS update schedule with 6 years of patches, or regular patches as they're calling them, from OnePlus, and I do think you might lean one way, and most of you will probably lean towards One UI. When we start to look at the camera systems, at least until you want to zoom in or crop in with your images, these are fairly similar camera systems all told. The differences boil down to tuning and processing. Samsung has really dialed back over the past few years with regards to saturation, while OnePlus has that Hasselblad colour science on board to help produce what I'd consider some of the best photos around. And because the Galaxy S25 Ultra has a higher resolution 200 megapixel main sensor, you will get a substantial detail boost when taking photos. It has a better optical zoom as well with that 5x lens. Everywhere else it's simply a matter of preference as to which system you go out and pick. But there is a marginal edge here, at least in favour of the Samsung. OnePlus has just made great strides with their camera systems in recent years, and it is a very good, competent setup that more than holds its own against what in the past would have been a really easy win for Samsung. On top of that, you get tons of extra modes across both handsets to enhance photos, try out new looks or styles, and there's a very good way to differentiate your own images no matter which system you do want to go out and test. Video modes are similarly stacked here, all the way up to 8K resolution with log profiles thrown in for good measure if you want to be a mobile videographer. Samsung does have another slim edge here. Video is more or less their field of expertise on Android, but good video is becoming more common, and the OnePlus 13 does a great job at up to 8K resolution with solid stabilization and sharpness no matter which resolution you do end up picking. So Qualcomm's newest top-tier chip is definitely efficient, or at least more efficient than its predecessor, but when you consider that the OnePlus 13 does have a whopping 6,000 mAh cell tucked neatly inside its chassis, it might have an edge in this area. It's a 2-day phone for all but the most addicted smartphone owner, and that's not even mentioning the new silicon carbon battery cell as well. It handles higher temperatures better, which means it's just more stable in various usage scenarios, and it vastly outperforms the Galaxy S25 Ultra and its 5,000 mAh lithium-ion cell. This is one important area, as when you want to activate certain battery-intensive functions, there is one phone that stands above the other. The drop in lifespan is definitely less pronounced on the OnePlus 13 when you start to introduce those variables. And there's also the added bonus of 50 watt wireless charging, yes, wireless, and 80 watt wired charging for the US. That goes up to 100 watt in global markets and puts the paltry 45 watt wired and 15 watt wireless charging of the Galaxy S25 Ultra to shame, and we definitely need a lot more improvements here. Lifespan, battery tech and charging is definitely where the OnePlus 13 puts the S25 Ultra to shame, and with good reason. So one of the most interesting things about comparing the OnePlus 13 and the Galaxy S25 Ultra is really how closely they match up, given the large price discrepancy. The Galaxy S25 Ultra starts at $1,299 off contract, while the exact same configuration OnePlus 13 is just $899. There aren't really many reasons to pay an extra $500 when the core formula is so similar. It's actually priced closer as well, that OnePlus 13 that is, to the entry-level Galaxy S25, which also means it's in a league of its own in terms of price to performance. It's another case of a flagship OnePlus phone punching slightly above its weight, as the brand has really done over the past couple of years, effectively getting 90 to 95% of the Galaxy S25 Ultra experience, but an almost 40% lower start price. And there are lots of reasons to go with a Samsung phone, but this year, OnePlus is firmly in the Korean tech giant's rearview mirror, trying desperately to overtake these actual devices. And to me, that's a good thing, because Samsung needs to be pressed harder to make better products. That's not to say that the S25 Ultra is bad, it's just, it isn't necessarily that great value when you consider the rest of the market, specifically the OnePlus 13. Let me know what you think though down in the comment sections below. I firmly believe the OnePlus 13 hype this year, and maybe you don't. As I say, let me know what you think down in the comment sections below. Cheers, hopefully this has helped you make a decision of which is the better device for you, especially as these are two of the earliest releases in Android this year. Thanks for watching though, and I will speak to you later.